Welcome to the Fun Astrology Podcast, where we take a daily look at the sky, and we're going to have a busy look today, even though there's nothing up there, at least in the way of exact aspects. But I did get a couple of SpeakPipe messages from Tuesday's episode when we had the full moon and Saturn moving into Pisces.
Hey, Thomas. I really missed you howling at the moon on today's podcast.
Oh, we'll keep it short because that's a retrograde howl. We'll move that back to Tuesday. Thank you for reminding me. We had a lot going on that day. But with Saturn moving into Pisces, the last thing I want you to be is deprived. Another message came in about Tuesday's episode, and that was somebody who had
I was just let go from my job. And I'm laughing because I know at a visceral level, intuitively, that the universe is opening up doors for me and closing doors in order for new and abundant things to come into my life. I'm an intuitive life coach. I preach this all the time. And so listening to your Fun Astrology podcast, I thought, okay, I think all the stars are aligning and I'm kind of being just given a heads up or a warning that something's coming around the bend. So although there might be things ending or something of the symbolic nature of death, I just want to remind anyone else who might be in my position that just because something is coming to an end doesn't mean that something even better isn't just around the corner.
Now, if you remember, we pointed out on Tuesday that the Saturn ingress into Pisces was happening in both the 11th in equal and 12th in whole sign houses. Just mentioned there that there could be this death-type scenario around this. And the other thing, as this perfectly points out, endings and completions. 12th house, the last house. Wrap that lap up, start a new lap with Aries again. In fact, we're, about 2 weeks away from that very thing now? And maybe that's the theme here. Maybe this is a big, complete stuff that is in the way. And she said herself, and I think this is exactly what's going on here, she is an intuitive healer. The universe is putting together a team of intuitive people who are going to be on the court to help initiate this change. And stuff like jobs will get in the way. My own self, the radio show that I've been working on for 3 years, and I'm very glad it's over, is over. It's out of the way. It served its purpose at the time. We said namaste, basically, in corporate speak when we ended it, and it's over. Now I have the clear space to work on videos. I'm doing TikTok again now because I'm home and I've got a green screen, and I'm looking at a lot of other projects. But it's this work, not that work. And I'll just mention, when you guys buy those audiobooks by Fred Dodson and Steve Forrest, it helps keep me on the court doing this. So thank you. And thank you, Stevie and Mary Beth, for your messages. Appreciate those. And because it's been a light week in the sky, in fact, we have nothing overhead, still that Libra moon until all the way tomorrow night at 7:05 when it moves into Scorpio. So we've been picking apart what is so pivotally important in our lives today. That is the Saturn ingress into Pisces that took place on Tuesday at 8:35 in the morning. I think we've covered this behind and forward, and now let's take a look at the present, particularly the shadow sides and the positive sides of this ingress. So let's take what's moving. That would be Saturn, and obviously that's Lord Karma, and that would be the Darth Vader music if you were studying any kind of ancient astrology. They just didn't think very well of Saturn at all. It was always a negative presence on the chart. Something dour was going to happen. Well, we see things more balanced these days, so yes, let's paint some characteristics of Saturn on both sides. And I think we all pretty well start at the same place, and that is karma. And karma itself is something with two sides, right? If you've laid good stones in your path, then karma is a reward. Karma is clipping the coupons. If you've sown bad steps in your path, I'm sorry, but the best phraseology that I can think of is karma's a bitch. It will come back and bite you. Another Saturnian characteristic would be boundaries. Healthy boundaries, setting boundaries, and boundaries that are penetrated. A couple of other Saturnian words we might think of would be burdensome, burdens, delays, destruction, even death. Let's think of Capricorn when we think of Saturn, and what do we come up with there? Responsibility, diligence, duty, longevity, climb the mountain whatever it takes, solid foundation, and the one that I love, legacy. Now let's throw down a few things about Pisces here, and then we'll try to blend the two together. First of all, a water sign, obviously. It is mutable, more flexible, floating. Dual sign rulership, originally Jupiter. Since its discovery in 1846, now Neptune also shares co-rulership. And even right there, we can think of just Jupiter ruling Pisces. Expansion. Pisces has a vastness about it that is like the sky. It is artistic, visionary, compassionate, spiritual, intuitive, romantic, wise, can also be delusional, foggy, escapist, and addicted. So when we look back on Tuesday and Wednesday, we saw enough of the shadow side and how this can unfold, both personally and collectively. Saturn is the legacy. Pisces is the spirituality. Remember how we talked about laying the stones of the karmic path? Think about the next 2 years as to how you are going to lay the foundation, not only for the rest of this life, but also the next life. I think this is the greatest way to experience this aspect positively, consciously, awake. Here is Pisces. We've seen Jupiter come through it. Neptune is in it until 2025. This tremendous focus on spirituality. When Steve Forrest wrote his article, When the Saints Go Marching In, talking about all these kids born under Neptune and Pisces, they are going to be the spiritual leaders of the future. We can help give them the best platform on which to do their work by preparing our own selves, the generation that is parenting them and the generation that will hand them the ball. Bring spirituality into this culture. Be a solid stand, the Capricornian side of Saturn, against these things that are standing in our way. We have so many institutions and so many things in our culture and our society that need to crumble. Be a catalyst for that, even if you stand in it energetically, or maybe you get active politically or civically. And these old structures that do not serve us anymore, you stand up publicly and say, no, we're done with this. Quit lying, quit deceiving, quit stealing our money, quit mismanaging our assets. Stand in truth, because I'm not going to stand for it anymore. And I am going to be a catalyst and a voice for change. And I don't know how much longer I have left here, but I will tell you this. I'm going to do the very best I can to clean up the mess, 12th house, so that it can be handed off to the next generation, so at least they have something positive to work with. And most importantly, stop the secrets and stop the deception. That is a healthy side of Saturn applying to a shadow side of Pisces, incorporating the 11th and 12th houses. So for those of us who are conscious, even supporting these kids that we are raising, we have a lot of work to do. Now is the time. It just began. And I can't wait to share the space of doing this work with you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for entrusting my voice to your ears for just a few minutes today. And I'll see you back tomorrow. We'll set up the weekend.